Today, we're going to crack open one of the absolute Bibles of marketing, Marketing Management, 17th edition by Philip Kotler and his team. We're diving headfirst into Chapter 4, Analyzing Business Markets, to really pull back the curtain on the world of business-to-business marketing, B2B. It's a world that's often invisible to us as consumers, but wow, is it massive. It's the engine that powers pretty much everything around us, so let's get right into it. So here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to get a feel for just how unbelievably huge the B2B market really is. Then we'll take a look behind the scenes at how businesses actually make their buying decisions. It's not what you think. After that, we'll get into strategy. What does it actually take to win in B2B marketing? And to wrap it all up, we'll go over the key takeaways you'll definitely want to remember. All right, let's kick things off with something that might surprise you. You're constantly seeing ads for things like sneakers, cars, sodas, right? But what if I told you that the market for all that stuff is just a tiny tip of a gigantic iceberg? See, behind every single product you buy, there's this hidden world of business-to-business deals that is just mind-blowingly larger. And this quote from Kotler really says it all. While we're all focused on the flashy ads for consumer goods, the B2B market is where the real economic action is happening. The total dollar value of all these business-to-business transactions completely dwarfs consumer spending. Every single thing you own is the final product of a long chain of B2B sales. Okay, let's make this real. Think about a simple pair of leather shoes. Before you ever see them on a shelf, a whole series of B2B sales has to happen. First, a hide dealer sells the raw hides to a tanner. Then, the tanner sells that finished leather to a shoe manufacturer. The manufacturer then sells the shoes to a wholesaler, who in turn sells them to the retail store. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 B2B sales for just one single purchase by you. Now just try to imagine that chain reaction for every product out there. The scale is just staggering. So what really makes this B2B world tick so differently from the consumer world we all know? Well, this chart breaks it down perfectly. In B2B, you're not selling to millions of individual people. You're often selling to just a handful of huge companies. And that's exactly why those close supplier relationships are so critical. The stakes are way higher, the deals take longer, and everything is built on trust. And check out this term, inelastic demand. It sounds technical, but it's actually simple. It just means that a car company can't suddenly stop buying steel just because the price went up a little. They still have cars to build, right? Okay, so we know the B2B market is this huge, unique beast, but how do businesses actually decide what to buy? It's definitely not as simple as you or me grabbing a carton of milk at the store. Oh no, it's a way more complicated dance. Kotler breaks down business buying into three main scenarios. First, you've got the straight rebuy. That's the easy stuff, the no-brainer, like reordering printer paper. Then there's the modified rebuy. That's when you're thinking about making a little change, maybe looking for a new supplier or a better price. And then you have the new buy. That's the big one, buying a whole new factory machine or a complex software system for the very first time. And for marketers, that's where the real challenge and the biggest opportunity is. Now this right here is a game-changing insight. We love to think that business decisions are all cold, hard logic. But that's just not the whole picture. The person signing that purchase order is also a human being with their own career goals, their own worries. They aren't just buying a product. They're buying something that will hopefully solve a company problem and maybe get them a promotion, or at the very least, keep them from getting in trouble. And that brings us to this slide, which just busts the biggest myth in B2B wide open. The myth is that it's all about spreadsheets, cost, performance, features, and yeah, of course that stuff matters. But the reality is the powerful human emotions are always in the driver's seat. Buyers need to trust you. They need to feel confident that your solution will work. They feel pride when they choose a well-respected brand. And maybe most powerfully, they feel fear. The fear of making a bad call that could cost the company a ton of money, and maybe even cost them their job. So what's the absolute biggest danger for any B2B marketer? Kotler nails it. It's commoditization. That's the nightmare scenario where your customer starts to see your product as being exactly the same as everyone else's. And once that happens, the only thing they care about is price. And trust me, a race to the bottom on price is a race you do not want to be in. So how do you escape that commodity trap? How do you connect with buyers on both a logical and an emotional level? In other words, how do you actually win in B2B marketing? Let's talk strategy. This old saying is legendary for a reason. It perfectly captures that emotional side of B2B buying we were just talking about. Choosing a brand with a rock-solid reputation, like IBM, well, that wasn't just a smart technical choice. It was a safe career choice. It's all about minimizing that personal risk, that fear of making the wrong move. A strong brand is basically professional insurance. And this all boils down to one critical idea.
that Kotler calls corporate credibility. It's really just a simple belief. It's the belief in your customer's mind that your company can and will deliver on its promises. Without that, you're just another vendor in a sea of commodities.
So how do you build this incredibly important credibility? Well, Kotler says it stands on 3 pillars. First, expertise. Are you actually good at what you do? Second, trustworthiness. Are you honest? Can I depend on you? And third, and this one might surprise you, likability. Are you a company that people genuinely enjoy working with? To build that fortress of a reputation, you really need all 3. You know, one of the smartest ways companies are building these long-term trust-based relationships is by shifting from just selling one-off products to offering services. Just look at Adobe. They used to sell you a software box. Now, they sell you a subscription. This creates a powerful, ongoing relationship. Predictable income for them and for the customer, they're always happy because they've got the latest and greatest version automatically. It's a win-win. Wow, we have covered a lot of ground today, all thanks to our guide, Kotler's Marketing Management. So let's bring it all home. What are the absolute must-remember takeaways from all this? Let's boil it right down. Number 1, B2B markets are enormous and complicated. Never underestimate them. 2, business buying is about deep relationships, not quick transactions. 3, always remember that people, not faceless companies, are making the decisions, and those decisions are fueled by both logic and emotion. 4, trust isn't just a nice to have, it's your single most valuable asset. And finally, number 5, you're not just selling products, you're selling solutions to problems. And I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. In this new age of AI, automated purchasing, and constant digital communication, do you think those deep human relationships that we've been talking about are becoming more important or less? It's really the central question for the future of B2B marketing. Thanks so much for tuning in.